so now I'm gonna make our ravioli dough, and I've got a little bit of ivory here, and I've got some white and just a teeny bit of brown. I'm gonna knead those all together. I'm going to add a little shortening to this dough just like I did with the plate. So it's a little darker than I would like it to be, so I'm going to add a little more ivory. My dough's a little pale now, so I think I'm going to add a teeny bit of yellow to bring out that eggy look. But I'm just going to add just a little bit at first to see what it does. I'm just going to do a sample swatch just to see if I like the yellow in it before I ruin my whole thing. I do like that look a little bit more, so I think I will add a little more yellow into this set. Pretty good dough color, but I might add a little bit more yellow. I think it's still a little too pale for me. Just adding a little corn flour onto my hand. I found it's getting quite sticky. So this will just prevent it from sticking to me and the board. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to roll this out into 2 strips, just like you would make real ravioli, and then we'll add our cake pop mixture into each one. All right, so I have one sheet all rolled out, and I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. This would be a good time to have a real pasta roller, but so I'm gonna roll the dough. I'm gonna roll the fondant super thin, just like you would the pasta. All right, so now I've got my 2 ravioli strips. I need to decide what size I want my raviolis. Search. So, plate size is a 6-inch. Start with a straight edge. About 17 inches long. We'll do it 3 inches wide. That seems like a good. Same to this one. All right, so now we have our 2 strips. So I have about half a tablespoon worth. some water. You don't want to put too much water because water does eat away at the fondant, but just enough to get the other piece to stick. So then I'm gonna pick up this piece and stick it right on top. And I'm gonna press around each piece so we don't get air trapped in there. Using your hand to like make a C kind of helps push that air out as you're tightening the dough around your ravioli. Now I have air trapped in here, so I'll just pop it with the little hole, push the air out, and push that down. And then I want to cut mine with this little ruffled edge collar tool. And look, now we have a little ravioli. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to all the others. And then I'll go on the other side and crimp the two edges together. Okay, so now I have all my little raviolis made. So I'm going to use this as my plate for my raviolis. So I'm just going to use the shape of this to make it easier for me. So I'm going to add a little shortening into my fondant. It's kind of dry. I'm going to knead that in. That feels much smoother than it did before I added the shortening. And then because I want it to harden up quickly, I'm going to add some CMC powder or Tylos powder. You can add either. This will just help the fondant to harden up quickly for my plate. I'm just going to knead that in. Quite the forearm workout sometimes doing this. So that feels good and smooth. So now I'm going to roll it out and put it on my plate. So I'm going to use a little cornstarch on my board to keep my fondant from sticking. And just turn it every time you roll across it with your rolling pin, and that will help keep it into a semicircle shape. And then I don't know if you can see on camera, but I have like these little bubbles. So then I use my scribe tool that I have for my cookies. I just pop the surface and push the air out. Just checking to see if it's big enough. Not quite, so we'll keep rolling. Put a little corn flour on my plate so my fondant doesn't stick and I'll be able to remove it. Just going to use my hands and press it into the plate so I can get the shape of it. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to just go around and get like the fluted edges of the plate. Alright, my edges are a little rough for my knife, so I'm just going to smooth them out with my finger. And then I think I'm going to take just a ball of fondant and just smooth over it to get my fingerprints out of the fondant. Alright, so just like that. And then once it's dry, I'll paint it. All right, so now we're gonna make some parsley. I'm just gonna take some of my green sprinkles. I'm gonna throw them in a bag, seal it up, and I'm just gonna now I've got little parsley. All right, this is modeling chocolate, and it's gonna act with our cheese for our raviolis. Now this is really hard, so this will be really easy to grate. If it's soft, you gotta throw it in the fridge until it firms up. But I'm holding it in the bag because the heat of my hand will start to warm it up. And see? Cheese. Now I have cheese. All right, so I let our plate dry overnight, and now it's hard enough to stand on its own. So let's plate our raviolis. All right, so we have our sauce. And let's add more raviolis on top. Just like they do in Italy, I'm going to spread my sauce with a little paintbrush. Now you can't have a plate of pasta without a little parsley. I took some green sprinkles and I smashed them with my rolling pin. And of course, you need your Parmigiano Reggiano. So in this case, we've got modeling chocolate. And there is our completely edible plate of ravioli.